Everything the light touches is our kingdom.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night!
To infinity and beyond!
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep!
It's morphin' time!
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
What are you smiling about? Dude, I almost had you.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
I am king of Wakanda.
I am Groot.
I am Iron Man.
I am William Wallace.
I am Batman!
This is the Poi and Soy podcast.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Welcome back to the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, you are here with the boys of Poi and Soy on our post-credit segment. Post-credits is a segment where we go through movies, TV, entertainment, and all the good stuff in between. I am your co-host, Nolan Chang, and with me as always are my longtime friends and co-hosts, Jalen Holston, Keoni McKee. Say what's up to the crowd.
Good morning, crowd. We're back. Another beautiful Friday here in the reality that is the now, or the future, or possibly the past. You never know. It's podcasting. Movie magic.
That's true.
That
Bang.
was very deep.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Wow.
I wasn't ready for that.
I was not ready. It's too early for this joke.
I was like, whoa, mine just went
Are
like
we in a simulation?
Are we alone in this world? Before we get into all our news nuggets today, we got to give a big shout out to our partners at DUD Energy, our favorite energy supplement coming in powdered form, beautiful little tubs and delicious flavors. Whether you're gaming, working out, doing some chores, errands, or maybe you just want to cruise with a little pick-me-up, Dubby's got your back. It'll get you through the day. So go to w.gg or the app DUD Energy and use the promo code POINSOY, POINSOY, for 10% off your order. Not only supporting them as a business, you're supporting us as content creators, and we appreciate you all for it. All right, gentlemen, let's get to this. All right. Jalen, I know you technically didn't hop in with us last week when we did this, but we're doing a little bit different because we're now on YouTube. So when we jump into this first news nugget today, we're going to have a little visual for us, okay?
Oh, my days.
Right.
Here we go.
So
We're a
please,
real
first of all, ignore Forbes because Forbes likes to have a lot more pessimistic review or articles, I guess you could say.
It's like, oh my God, just subscribe for $1.50. You cheap son of a gun. No,
You son of a gun. We're going over the Fantastic Four box office. One, it opened up very, very well. 118 million domestically in the first weekend, as well as another 100 overseas or internationally, if you will, making it one of the biggest box offices of the year so far. Superman also has cleared 500 million, making it clearly profitable, warranting a sequel from what I've heard from, James Gunn's Twitter, because he likes to announce things on Twitter, right? But where it stands as of today, as the beginning of the second weekend for Fantastic Four, it is now worldwide $333 million. Gentlemen, we have all seen the movie. If you have not checked it, go check out our review. It's on our YouTube channel. It's on all podcast platforms. But gentlemen, how do you feel about the box office looking like this entering its second weekend?
Very good. It's lining up for that solid kind of 600 million runtime mark. Very solid opening for an original, or I guess not kind of original, but like a first entry into a superhero. I think Iron Man was...
I have to interject. Misread it. It was doing a projection thing. Worldwide, it's actually at 250 million right now.
Right, which is fantastic.
Weekend. Still good.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely fantastic. Ding, whatever. But, hopefully it keeps that momentum rolling. And also, I don't think there's anything substantial in its way, because I think the problem with Superman was that this movie was like on the way. It was incoming. So it kind of just nuked a lot of what it could have made.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say this about the Superman film. Like, the budget was 225-ish, somewhere in there. You double that, it's 450. Hitting 500 million is not... That, to me, that's not like the success I'm looking for what you would say a first entry into a new universe should be for a Superman film. You barely went over and netted a $50 million profit on a movie. Whereas Fantastic Four might end up in a similar vein. I think they were in that 250, 225 budget range. So right now they've already matched that, which is great. So now everything post that should be covering marketing and sales and all that. So we'll see where they actually end up in a couple weeks here. But like I said, I think their benefit is that there's no other major superhero movie in the way. So I think they're actually going to clear Superman by a substantial margin by the end of its run. I could see it in the range of 600 million, 650, somewhere in there. And that'll be plenty of all that stuff. And that's a good net. The funny thing I like reading right now currently is just how much people are moving the goalpost to glaze and make Superman seem like it's this big success, when in reality, it's really not. Like, it barely cleared anything. And I think up to right now, it still hasn't cleared Man of Steel, which was like the big comparison as far as like entry.
I think it cleared it.
It should have by now, but like as of
let me see.
Like,
okay, so domestically for
Monday
Man of Steel, it was 291. Worldwide, 670. And then Superman, 299 domestically. So it did clear it domestically, and it's at 522 right now. So it's still got about, I want to say, 3-4 more weeks in the theaters, and then we'll kind of see from there. I mean, all in all, we discussed how we felt about the movie for Superman. Yeah. But I think we do have to take this as a win for DC. The past 4 DC movies, Black Adam being one of them, at the highest, maybe reaching 400 million. Shazam 2, I forgot what the other movie was. Flash didn't clear 200 million. So I think overall, we're looking at this as a restart of this DC universe. Whether we liked that movie or not, hopefully we get some kind of course correction as we move forward. I think we have to see this as a win. I think the fact that they, in a sense, with a tinfoil hat on, had to kind of dig out of the gutter that the end of the DCEU provided it as it's starting off this new one. 522 for me, I'm going to take it as a win.
Yeah. I was only going to add to it that I feel like I just can't wait till movie watching just becomes just less political, I guess is the best way to put it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody wanted to go watch that one because it's James Gunn, it's restarting the whole new DC universe, and it's like, I feel like most people went there and lauded it because it's that, and not really because they watched the movie like critically and all that kind of stuff. And whereas we went and saw both, and now we kind of, as we said on both of our reviews, that we kind of all were much more in line with how Fantastic Four was. Just, we need that mob stuff to go away, where we just don't have people just hating on things before they even drop just because whatever XYZ reason. So
for sure. And I think that probably plagued some of Fantastic Four's numbers as well, like it does with every film. But I'm glad that, at least for that interpretation, I think by a literal technical definition, we can go with, it was a success because it's clearing it by $50 million comparatively to what they've made. But let's get real. The other movies that were in the DCU, like the ones that are in direct comparison that involved Superman, so we'll go with Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League. Justice League obviously was hammered by the reshoots, and we had the whole
new director
Joss Whedon thing.
Tragedy on Zack Snyder's side.
Correct. So we have no idea what the Zacks would have actually done in the box office. So that one, it's almost a wash. BVS, while not the success it should have been, as John Campea and so many others have pointed out, that should have been $1 billion film. It was the first time we've ever had Batman and Superman on screen in a film before in live action. Still made double its budget and made almost $900 million whenever it got done with its run. Obviously not even close to what they should have been. We can argue about that all day long and so forth. And then Man of Steel also did a good job and cleared its budget, made a good profit, critically was very divisive. The reality is, if the money lines are that tight and we don't get a Superman sequel out of those films that made financially and factually more money than Superman Legacy, that to me is a load of BS. Like, I'm not calling this a success and an overwhelming win for DC. Now, is there room and has he greenlighted a sequel to maybe course correct a little bit? Yes, and that's awesome. We'll see how that goes. I am looking forward to Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow because of the little clip in the end of the Superman movie itself. So maybe that'll set things back on track, and maybe that one will break through money-wise for them and make an actual profit that's not just, 150, and maybe that'll finally clear and make, they made 125 million on that movie or 150 million, whatever it's going to be. So we're really justifying and not just shoehorning in because we can for shoehorning a sequel, because 10 years ago, a $50 million profit's not getting a sequel. You know what I mean? That's just not happening. So that's where I'm at with it, at least. But Fantastic Four, I don't know that Marvel, I wonder where their mindset is. You know what I mean? Like, what at the end of this run, let's say they're in that situation too. Are they going to be in a position where maybe only like a $50 or $60 million profit total? Let's say it goes that route. Are they going to be willing to keep moving forward with Pedro Pascal and the Fantastic Four plans and all those things? I don't know that Kevin's really like, shoving stuff through like that. You know what I mean? I'm interested to see where that goes.
I would say that I think they will. The only reason I think that, we'll kind of touch on it maybe in a few news nuggets, but the underwhelming success of Thunderbolt's success on the critical side, at least of it, money-wise, didn't really clear, or maybe it just tapped 400 million. The fact that they're bringing the director in to showrun the new X-Men movie, I think Kevin Feige, regardless, we know that these Thunderbolts are going to return in Avengers, right? So that was kind of already a given. But the fact that he puts a lot of trust in Jake Schreier coming in, saying, hey, I want you to come do our X-Men movie now. I think the money right now for Kevin Feige is not on his mind. This is a, $32 billion franchise at this point. I think he knows when something is successful, regardless of what the box office says. And he's going to kind of continue moving forward. Because I think the clear and away praise of the Fantastic Four movie is going to trump their end line of the box office. But that's just me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And luckily, I think they were more mainstream than the Thunderbolts. Because again, I think the fans failed that film, as we know, because that was that was cinema. That was a cinematic film. That was it was almost like, it felt like the second Eternals, pretty much. It felt like the exact same situation. Literally, no one was ready for that kind of movie. Very obscure characters.
For quality?
I know, it was crazy. But it just felt like they made another kind of Eternal situation where there was all this stuff and noise going on. They dropped this movie, but no one really knew about the Thunderbolts, understood what was going on. They knew some of the characters in it, but it just wasn't. It didn't take off like that. But yet, critically, you look at Thunderbolts and Eternals, and they're just ridiculously well praised because they are good cinematic films for the MCU. So
yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting situation there.
Right on. Moving on to our next news nugget. Now this one is coming out this weekend. I believe that it's already started its preview day, and I think it's looking at potentially a $15 million opening weekend, which is not, it sounds bad, but when you look at the movie, I think that's pretty solid, you know? The Naked Gun coming in with a 90% critic rating with 150 reviews. This is as of around midnight last night that I put the screenshot up here. Audience rating, 88% of over 100 verified views. This movie, it's a callback to the past. It's a humor that I'm not sure, or I wasn't sure as it was coming out, that the audience would respond to, but they've been getting a lot of great praise from the reviews and the reactions of this movie, of how subtle and a return to the classics it is, in all the best ways possible. And plus you have Liam Neeson, who is arguably one of the best unexpected humorous actors, if I could say that correctly, right? Mm-hmm. And he's playing the lead role. Pamela Anderson's returning to the screen as well, seeming to kind of move away from what she was in the past and kind of having a lot more fun with it nowadays. Gentlemen, how do you feel about it? I mean, I think I'm going to guess this is going to be a couch watch for us, but how do you feel that this movie has had such a success when it's kind of out of its time, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, for sure. I was only going to say, it's great. We're finally getting these throwbacks to real comedy because, we've said that for many years now, since forever, since we started this podcast together, just make comedy, you know what I mean?
Make it funny, man.
Don't need to get offended. Don't need to have weird, whatever moments. I love that they're going back to the sort of airplane days of movies, which, obviously this is like one of those that was in that zeitgeist of like all those comedy, weird, whatever films. So, I mean, I am very excited to watch it, but again, probably on the couch because, it's like, sorry, Liam, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like $30 to go see it in the theaters.
Yeah.
So,
and if I remember correctly, I think this movie is, I think it's coming in at like 80 minutes.
You're right. Hot take, Qui-Gon should have,
Anyway, Jalen, thoughts?
Good for Liam Neeson, man. I'm pumped that everybody's kind of receiving this humor well and receiving this style of humor well, like Keoni pointed out. It's just a return to form. Yeah, definitely a couch watch for me, though. Also glad that, like, a reboot got made that was, well, not a reboot. I guess it's like is it a full-on reboot or a continuation?
It's like a sequel, because he's technically the son of Leslie Nelson's character.
Right. Oh. Right. So, a soft reboot, if you will, of a really, really popular film from back then. So to see it be done in such a quality and such a way that it's kind of like the new generation's version of a movie, like that's what I mean by like, if we're going to reboot something, do it in this vein where it's like you're giving a new generation the same type of film that the other generation used to have. And obviously you get the tie-ins to the original with that. So big W. This is how you properly do a reboot of a film or like a remake of a film whenever you're trying to do something like this with an iconic property. That kind of stuff. So very, very good for Liam Neeson, though. Qui-Gon is still alive and well. Thank goodness. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. The next news nugget we got. This was not on my bingo card of things that I'd ever see again on the screen. But here we are. Bend It Like Beckham is coming out with a sequel. And
no shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's working in collaboration with the U.S. women's soccer manager. It has yet to be announced if the lead actresses, Keira Knightley and forgot her name. Her last name's Nagra. They're in the picture right there. If they're going to be returning to the film. My only question is, why? I don't think that anyone's really asked for a sequel to the film. I know that we're waiting. Okay. I know that we've gotten into a world, and I'm sure Jalen can understand it a little bit. I work with a lot of female coaches, so there's a lot of empowerment where women's sports is being a lot more put on a pedestal to get more production, get more eyes on it for the right reasons. Is this just kind of a result of that, where they want to bring a little bit more? I know in the past, typically, our women's national team is probably... this will probably be filmed in the UK, but our women's national team is way more successful than our men's national team, right, for soccer. So it could be something where they're trying to bring in a lot more stakes to what's going on in the world and get more popularity out there for them. But what are your guys' thoughts?
Like, is that a picture of like the original lead right now?
No, that's I believe that's the Gurinder Chadha right there. That's she's the person who's going to be making the film.
Okay. That was just like
the face she made.
I was like,
you're like, maybe we could cast somebody else.
Like maybe we want to go like that's her mom or something, because I mean this movie came out in like 2001, I think, or something like that. Like
where he was going.
This movie is 24 years old, and like those people are in their like 40s or 50s now.
I don't know if we want to see Becca Bennett anymore.
I don't know about all that, bro. Like, I'm just saying, like, cool if they want to, but we're gonna have to get real creative on the storyline if we're gonna get like 50-year-old people out there trying to play some footy. Yeah. I don't know why, but I think maybe what you said potentially with how in the zeitgeist women's sports are right now. Shout out to Caitlin Clark, real homie, goat.
Goat.
I think maybe there is a bit of that. It seems a little weird of all films that this is the one that they might be trying to pull out of the dungeon and remake again. Where is my Neverending Story reboot by Denis Villeneuve. Like that would just be amazing. Or Guillermo del Toro, either one. But I mean, I liked the original movie, but also like it's a cool story about a female having success in that space. But also there's some like, doesn't Keira Knightley like try to date her coach at one point? Like, also has like the worst angles that women's sports falls into as well. Like, from what I recall in the film. So like, maybe we make it more in line with being a successful female and not terrible at sports, but then you get with the coach so you stay on the team angles, right? Like, clean some of that up before we make another movie. But yeah, no, I mean, I like the original movie. I thought it was fun. I always threw it on or back in the day, but yeah, I was definitely also not seeing that one on the old bingo card. So
Yeah.
Good for them. Good for them. I do hope they get the original 2 actors back in the film. That'd be great.
Yeah, great for them.
Great for them. Fantastic for them.
All the thoughts.
All
that Jay
right.
shared.
All right. Cool. The next news nugget we got. Actually, forgot to add these in. Let us know down in the comments below. Are you interested in a Bend It Like Beckham sequel? Is this something that you're excited for? You're rearing and ready to go for? Next news nugget we got today. We've talked about it, gentlemen. They're coming out with a sequel to The Social Network, yet to be determined if it's going to be called The Social Network 2 or some other moniker. But seemingly, Jesse Eisenberg has declined from returning to the sequel, and one of the strong frontrunners is Jeremy Strong. Obviously, this is going to be updated. I believe this has to do with the Facebook files that were released. Included in the rumored castings is also Mikey Madison, who just did fantastic in Honora, and Jeremy Allen White, who has been known for The Bear, as well as among other things. They will be looking at these names to come into this sequel to kind of play into the more legal background of what's going on with, or what happened with Facebook within the last decade or so. How do you guys feel about this casting now that we have confirmation that Jesse Eisenberg does not want to return?
Kind of lame, not gonna lie. Like, is this like kind of where we're at? Like, every 10 years we're just gonna make a Facebook movie because like Mark Zuckerberg just sucks at his job internally. That's just, I don't know, that was my first thought. But also a little bit lame that he can't be in the film, because I do think if they're gonna make a direct sequel and continue the vibes from Social Network, it would be cool to see him continue to play that character, almost like a HBO show in some sense. So that'll be a little bit weird. I'm sure the movie will still work out just fine. I'm sure they won't have to be like previously on The Social Network in the beginning of the movie or anything, they'll figure it out from there. But yeah, a little bit of a bummer, but I feel like I would guess that Jesse Eisenberg kind of imagined that film was singular. It was linear, and it was definitely like, we're doing this one time and not trying to just kind of money grab and make one every 10 years just to say we can keep picking on Mark Zuckerberg kind of thing. So it felt like, as far as like an acting gig, he gave a really good performance. And I just think that film by itself is a really, really good film. Whether or not it's accurate, who's to say? But the film itself is really, really good. So I think walking away makes sense, because it's just like, go out on a high. Don't worry about the sequel. You did a great job in the first one. Move on.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the casting. I think if it's aged up a little bit, I mean, Jeremy Strong actually makes a ton of sense. He kind of has that same weird, awkward kind of deal. I really liked him.
Actor.
Yeah, I was gonna say I really, really liked him in The Big Short, because that was one of my favorite, like, more underrated films that came out. Again, kind of with Jay though. It's like, did we really need this movie? Bend It Like Beckham, this one. Like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, overall, sad that Jesse Eisenberg isn't returning for it, regardless if we're accepting of this movie even happening. But Jeremy Strong, if he actually signs on, he has got quite the resume that I'd be definitely interested to see his rendition of Mark Zuckerberg.
Sure.
But moving on, let us know down in the comments below how you feel about this potential signing. Are you even interested in another Social Network movie, or is this just kind of beating a dead horse. You know what I mean? Next news nugget. Now, we discussed it a little bit earlier, just kind of touched on it, but Jake Schreier is going to be directing the new X-Men iteration for the MCU. And a couple things that just kind of came through for him specifically and what he's going to do with this film. Now, he's talked about that there's a lot going on, but it's going to be recognizably different. And he's quoted as saying, the core idea of what X-Men is involves complexity. It's an incredible opportunity with super interesting characters and much internal conflict. These characters are wrestling with their identity and a place in the world, and that's inherently interesting and complex material. Now, I'm going to tell you this straight up. If you had removed X-Men from the title and just put Thunderbolts, that would be the same quote.
Correct.
I think that is why also Kevin Feige said, you're our guy. You're definitely going to be the one who's going to usher in the new X-Men to the MCU because of what he was able to do with the complex internal battles of characters that didn't know where they belonged, didn't even know if they should be existing in this world. And now I think we have someone who, regardless if it's this director is fitting here because he knows how to show internal conflict on screen, regardless, I think that this seems like the perfect hand in glove fit for an X-Men film. I do think in the previous iterations of X-Men, we didn't get a lot of what each character was kind of going through. I think they highlighted some characters in the films specifically of what kind of internal conflicts they had or their independent issues and dramas, but not necessarily how a group of people like that can come together in an ensemble. But gentlemen, how do you guys feel about his quote? Are you more hyped now that you kind of get where his head mind is at for this film?
Yes. I also think the originals were kind of, they were a product of their time. Like, we never got
we weren't
those...
looking for deep.
No,
we just came off of The Matrix. We wanted to see leather suits. You know what I mean?
Leather suits, Bryan Singer,
not yellow
nipples.
spandex.
Anyway, no, not yellow spandex. Apparently, which is now currently in. How funny is that? That's where we've gotten to with comic book films.
Hell yeah.
But like, I think it was a product of his time in terms of like being able to show how the X-Men like work together. We literally were like in a time where every scene they could try to show Cyclops being a leader, being like, Storm, take out the thing and blah, blah, blah. But then like the film literally has to set up that set piece because we didn't have the types of CGI and like green screens and stuff and wired stuff that we have now. And like budget wise, it was probably cheaper to just do like one shot of Storm doing something, one shot of Wolverine doing something, one shot of this doing something versus like we don't have like the glory shots of it being like one shot all the way through and watching like Storm throw a lightning bolt and then Jubilee comes in with a thing and then the Nightcrawler poof is just going boom, 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 boom all over the screen. Kind of closer to what we got in, Days of Future Past and like all that stuff. But there weren't any, I think in every film, I don't know, outside of maybe Days of Future Past, there's never really been like a super definitive like team moment for an X-Men film where you're like, yeah, like we're watching the X-Men right now. It's always been about, and it's no fault of Hugh Jackman. He just kind of took the franchise over with how popular he got and how well he did the character. Yeah. So everything was always Wolverine centric. And that's just not who the X-Men were. Like the Wolverine in the comics, in the cartoons is very much a side character. Like he has a cool origin story. We dig into it a little bit, but like, him by himself was never the central focal point of the X-Men. It was always centered around Cyclops and Jean. That is how the story goes. Jean, especially because of her relationship to Professor X and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously you have the fallout between him and Magneto and then Mystique and the Brotherhood and the political ambitions and like how all that goes around. So there is a ton to dig in, and it's like quintuple the amount that Thunderbolts had. So if he can tap into a little bit of that with X-Men and get it away from it just being a Wolverine and buddies type of film, that's going to be the big thing. I still hold on to like, I don't think we have to have necessarily the OG Wolverine. Like Daphne Keene's talked about wanting to come back and be X-23. We can still tie in some things if we want. You can always just go with the James route with one of his bastard children being Wolverine for a new younger cast and all that kind of stuff. A lot of routes to go. And again, I think once we start doing the casting for this film, we'll figure out a little bit more like what direction they're going to be going. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm going to echo a lot of the same stuff that Jace said. I mean, he's not wrong. Like, the first film felt very like this is just a Wolverine movie. But as we're heading into like this new iteration, I'll be very interested to see sort of like the relational stuff play out a little bit more, because we got hints of that. You know, obviously you had like the trio of, you know, Wolverine and Jean Grey and Cyclops kind of play out somewhat throughout or not even somewhat, actually it was kind of the main thing for like the third one, but
the main triangle.
But I mean, it was there. It wasn't really something they kind of like really explored through the movie necessarily. It was just kind of like it was like the reason for Wolverine to like want to save her and protect her and all this other stuff. They never really like dove into that, so I'll be interested to see if they do kind of do that. I'm also very interested to see what cast he pulls, you know what I mean? What cast of characters we're using for this one. We saw the rumors like not so long ago and talked about it on the podcast. If that's the version they go with, that'd be cool. You know, also don't mind if they go like a completely different direction and just pull in, you know, different ones that we haven't seen on screen before. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna stand on this hill. I really still want to see Iceman get his due, because we just never got a full Iceman, and Iceman's one of my favorite X-Men of all time. So that's one I'm going to put out there that I would really like to see. But all things told, pretty excited for it. I think he did really well with Thunderbolts. I'm holding out a lot of hope for this guy to kill this first X-Men movie. So let's do this.
I'm with you. Let us know down in the comments below. Are you excited about what Jake Schreier is saying about his X-Men iteration and what he's going to be bringing to the introduction? Okay, the introduction of the X-Men to the MCU. Next news nugget we got. Sticking on a little bit of the X-Men, we have had a big announcement in the past couple months of who's coming into Avengers Doomsday. One of those would be Rebecca Romijn, Mystique from the original X-Men. Now, she's come out with some comments recently, and I just want to ask if this has... Oh, what the heck? That did not go the way I thought it would.
Boost of gold.
No, did I? There we go. I guess I left that one in from last week. She's saying that she's not sure if she has finished filming her scenes yet for Avengers Doomsday because they haven't finished writing the script. Now, I know that there's been a lot of discussion with how Marvel runs things with their films. Should we be worried? I would say no, because they've, once again, I'm going to echo it. They're a $32 billion franchise. It seems like whatever their formula is, it works. But it does seem a little odd that someone who's being put in this film, who's returning to a character who kind of gave her a lot more popularity, is kind of like backhanding them in a way by saying that they haven't finished the script, or it could just be taken out of context and what she's actually done, because she's just saying that she doesn't know if she's done filming yet, just because the film hasn't been completed with the script. Just want to get your guys' take on this.
I guess part of me is going to say maybe this is a little bit of Marvel reacting to like, geez, why can't I not think of his name? Alan Nightcrawler.
Alan Cummings. Yeah.
I was like, how do I forget that last name?
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe this is like a reaction to Alan Cummings kind of spoiling stuff. And like, I feel like their generation of like the Marvel was like not really, kept secret and all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of like maybe she's just in the dark about what's going to happen with the character, or if she's done filming. I mean, who knows? Like, I'm sure they have a lot of stuff that's under wraps that they're not telling all of their cast together. So maybe she just happens to be one of those. I don't know. That's kind of like what I felt like they did when I heard that she was kind of talking about it, just because seemingly half the cast won't know what's going on in most of the movies. So I'm just like, it's a nothing burger for me. But I mean, maybe she's not wrong. Maybe they haven't actually finished. I know there were rumors that they weren't actually finished writing everything and they couldn't settle on how to finish the movie. So that is a thing. That sucks. Probably means the movie's going to get delayed again. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But I'm hoping that because they pushed it back already, that's why.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Possibly?
When was the original release? I always forget. There's a couple
July
of
of next, or no,
Oh,
May
wow.
of next year. May of next year.
Jeez, yeah. So that's even worse. Yeah. So they already pushed it back 7 months. So don't do it again.
Please.
Yeah, I know. You just want to watch it.
Jalen.
I'm not worried, to be honest. I think there's also the pecking order stuff, right? By the time actors might hear information that could have been something 3 months ago that's now trickled down to where they're getting it to, I don't know that they're going to be out here filming and just winging it with no script. That doesn't seem very Kevin Feige to me, and those sorts of things. Plus, I think there was a rumor about something excuse me, something along these lines that Gal Gadot had to talk about for like Wonder Woman, but it was literally such old news that the executives basically came out and like bashed that instantly. So I don't take things from an actor's point of view really that seriously because of how the trickle down goes, but from executives down to producers, down to writers, down to directors and that kind of stuff. So not worried. All that kind of stuff. I'm sure they'll figure out the rest of her scenes and all that kind of stuff, or she just misinterpreted that she is probably done with her scenes for Doomsday.
Do you think
I don't think it's going to get pushed back.
Do you think this is also someone who's just not a part of, who hasn't been a part of the true Marvel atmospheres? Yes. Also, maybe getting things confused and speaking out of turn, but in reality, it's Secret Wars script that hasn't been finished, and maybe she isn't sure if she's returning for that. You know, she could just be saying that.
I don't think she's been out of the game. No offense, like, and she hasn't been in the new machine. She was in the one that started it back in the day with 20th Century Fox, but she has not been in the Marvel.
She was in MySpace, not Facebook. Stuff. You know what I mean?
I was like, she's dead by Secret Wars already. No, I'm just
right. Right. So I think there's a little bit of getting things confused, like you said, because Doomsday is like on the boots filming, and you don't do that without a finished script. So that's just not practical. Now, Secret Wars, they could still be reworking based on some stuff they want to try and maybe add into Doomsday and all that kind of stuff. That I could still see being not completely finished yet, but like mostly finished. Maybe they want to switch a few things around with certain characters and all that kind of stuff. So no, I do think it's more of akin to what you said, that she's just kind of not really used to being in the show so much. And getting some things flipped around versus what she's been told. So, yeah, definitely more of that angle.
Also, shout out to her and Jerry O'Connell. Their daughter plays for one of the club teams we play against locally here in SoCal. So I see Jerry O'Connell at some tournaments every now and then. Not going to say the club because that's kind of impeding in their privacy. But let us know down in the comments below. What?
No, say it right now.
Say it.
There you go. That's what it is. Let us know down in the comments below if you're worried if this script really isn't finished, or do you think that this is just copy and paste on how they do things over at Marvel, and we're just not in the know because we're just the people who see the finished product on screen. Keeping in the world of Marvel, next news nugget we got Jeremy Renner. Now, there's been no confirmation, but he has stated that he is sure a Hawkeye season 2 will happen. He stated, "My body's getting ready for something like that. I don't know if anyone wants to see me in tights, but my body will look good in tights." There has been comments before where we talked about he wasn't getting the due that he was owed, or his value for a paycheck with Marvel, and he felt that way.
Trying to cut his budget in half just to have Haley and him get back. It was like, no, dude, I'm the Hawkeye.
Yeah,
like, get the fuck out of here.
It seems like either there's been a course correction on the higher ups side, where maybe they've had some additional talks and like, Jeremy, here you go. This is what we're going to sign you on for.
Being disrespectful. You're right.
You're right. Or maybe he's on the other flip side of it. He's trying to just kind of mend some fences and say like, hey, I'm ready to go if you guys want me back. And it's kind of just maybe he sees the machine that's running right now for Avengers and he's like, I'm ready to come back, guys. But what do you guys take on this? Do you think that Hawkeye Season 2 will officially happen, or are we just going to get him in the Avengers movies moving forward?
Nah, I think somebody also got fired. Like I said, when Kevin is in when Kevin is in the seat and he's running things the way that he's doing, we saw it in the last two movies. Thunderbolts felt like, again, we have a destination. The script was really great. Everything was folding through. I think the only one that we haven't, that from this year, right? I think Cap 4 was technically the last one under that other regime. And so that was before Kevin really had full control over everything again. And that's why that movie was, it's not great. They got it off the ground, but I like that we're not bending that Sam is the new Cap, but they haven't treaded backwards on that quite yet. And I love that. Merchandise, everything, like he is Captain America, and we're not, but that's anyway, side tangent. But when he's in the seat, stuff gets corrected. And I think what Jeremy said had previously was also just egregious. I'm sorry. I understand Haley Steinfeld is a hot ticket in Hollywood right now. But in this world, there's zero reality where, like, in a Hawkeye show, she all of a sudden is going to get triple or double, and he gets moved down to a side character, considering he's one of the original Avengers members. Like,
and you only have so many of them left.
Okay. Correct.
Yeah.
He's one of the only ones, like, lore and canonically, that's still in there organically, right? Because he's the catalyst for bringing in, Natasha's sister and all those things in that show. And, like, having that moment in Hawkeye was really good. There were other issues in Hawkeye that, I wish they would have cleaned up and made a little bit better. I wish we would have had the TVMA rating back then so they could really do, like, a dedicated Ronin episode and show how lost he was before Natasha found him in the rain at that day when they said they were going back to go kill Thanos. Like, I would have loved some kind of episode like that and let Jeremy Renner really kind of flex a little bit, because I think he is a lead. I do. I think he's just been in some weird projects where everything else around it didn't really kind of go the way it needed to. I wish his Bourne franchise would have taken off, because I really thought he did a great job in that movie. So he just had this weird amalgam of things happen, but he can carry a show. We've seen the one where he's like the mayor of Kingstown. Is that the one that where he's just dealing with, like, kingpins? He carries the shit out of that show. So, like, the dude's a lead. Pay him like a lead. And he's not even asking for a pay bump. He just wants the same amount he was paid the last time. So I think Kevin got in there and said, I don't know who ran that, but you're gone. And now, like, probably called Jeremy Renner and was like, yeah, get ready to come back for season 2. We're going to get that cooking for you.
It's like, I'm so sorry. Do you want a water, coffee, anything? You good?
Do you want a water?
You need
something? Maybe just snack? Maybe a muffin from downstairs in the lobby? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Not to mention what this dude went through. You know what I mean? Like, it was disrespectful right off the rip.
Yeah.
And he's
come on,
like, clearly stating that his the return. You know what I mean? Like, he's going through the ringer to get his body back in that, like.
Exactly. Come on, dog. I mean, what are we doing here? I'm with Jay, though. I was like fully on board with what he said. It feels like they just finally paid the man. So
yeah,
shout out to Jeremy Renner.
Shout out Jeremy Renner. Let us know down below. Are you excited to see Jeremy return to the MCU? And what do you think that he'll be returning in? Is it going to be in a Hawkeye season 2? Or do you think he's just going to be returning to be a part of the Avengers as one of the original Avengers?
Yes.
Next news thing we got. Now, this is some exciting news. Keoni, I believe you're the one who's seen it out of the three of us, or at least in its totality. But Stephen Knight, who wrote Peaky Blinders, is going to be hired on to write the new James Bond film.
It's a banger, dude.
I'm not very familiar with his work, and but I believe Peaky Blinders is probably the echelon of his resume. But Keoni, let me know your thoughts specifically, since you are someone who was a part of the show audience, and what do you think that this is going to bring to a new James Bond film?
I mean, that opens up a lot of things for. Okay, first of all, it better not be Tom Holland, I swear. I know we've been on this already.
We joke about it.
I know we've talked about, but I swear if he brings in Tom Holland for this movie specifically, I'm gonna be so annoyed, because I feel like for what he has done in the Peaky Blinders world, I mean, that would just be a travesty to have that kid be thrown into the type of stuff that I've seen him write. As far as a 007 film in sort of like that darker, grittier tone, like to me, he reminds me a lot of old boy from like The Gentleman and all those other, what is that director's name?
Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie. Yeah, he kind of has like that similar feel with his movies, where there is sort of that snapping back type of stuff, like you're kind of not sure where they're at, and then like, oh, at the end there's kind of like this thing that happens that you're like, oh, that's why he was showing all those little back and forth clips and all those things. But all things told, Will be very interested to see what he does with 007. I think that's a freaking fantastic get because I loved Peaky Blinders. In fact, I literally just did one of those things where it's like you can only pick 5 and the rest have to go. Peaky Blinders was in there for me, along with like The Office and some other shows. But yeah, he was fantastic. So I'd be very interested to see the show now, as long as it's not Tom Holland.
Jalen, any
Love Tom Holland. By the way, this is not a
yeah,
slander.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm actually interested to see like the Odyssey at some point and just kind of see what that looks like because like I'm also on the Bernthal like train of damn dude. I don't know if there's any.
He can do
like,
anything
I don't
else
know
besides...
if he can break anything past Punisher. Like, like he looks the same in most of his movies, man. Like the Accountant 2, I'm sitting there, it's like a little bit lighter version of Frank Castle in the Accountant 2, but like. It's still just Frank. Just stick with it, bro. Get your money train going and just deal with it, bro. I get you're trying to stretch yourself, but like even in that Odyssey trailer, it just sounds like Frank is sitting there talking to Peter Parker.
Stories about Odysseus, huh?
About Odysseus, huh? What's going on here? You know what I think? Pete? Huh? You know what I think? I think you're too much of a coward to get done what needs to get done, okay?
I think your dad's dead.
Yeah.
That took a
that's
tangent.
just it really did. But, you know, it's just one of those things where if you get a writer like this, you've got to have an actor that's going to be able to carry what he's going to be able to write. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know that some of those rumored castings are going to work out. So if it's not Henry Cavill, I'm going to be upset. We just need to knock it in, get it done, make it a thing. He lost Superman. He should have James Bond. I think it's only fair.
Now, actually, let me swing this back to Keoni really quickly because I know you brought up the casting stuff. Keoni. As someone who's seen the show, I started touching on the first season, only got, so many of the characters that premiere in that show.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a possibility that you see anyone from that show who could step in as James Bond?
You know, it's funny. I know exactly who I want, but I don't actually know the actor's name.
Use the Google machine.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to Google it right now.
With the power of Google.
With the power of AI. One day you
AI
will be James Bond.
Too far.
Yes, he was one of the brothers.
AI is going way too far.
Dang too.
The only thing I will say is I'm not from the show itself. It kind of looks like he's a little bit not that tall.
What's his name?
Actor-wise, Michael Gray is his name. I was like, Michael Gray is fantastic in that show. I think he plays a little bit of everything. I mean, from the James Bond perspective, he got that jawline, you know what I mean? So it just looks like he'd be a solid, like, Bond character. But as far as, like, in the show-wise, the duality of sort of, like, he can play, like, the hardcore parts where maybe they bring in a little bit of that, why am I forgetting? Daniel Craig. And then there's the other parts where I feel like he's very suave, so he can bring in sort of the Pierce Brosnan side of it, which to me would be a great get for them. And obviously he's British, so.
Oh, the guy who plays Michael Gray. I was like,
yeah.
Actor named.
No,
yeah.
Michael Gray. That sounds interesting.
I do remember this actor.
Michael.
He played young John Cena in the Fast and the Furious movie.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, he did. You're right. He did. Oh,
that's
wow.
crazy.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah. But, he was also in, maybe, was he in Spartacus? I feel like he was in Spartacus a long time ago, but.
Spartacus had a really great cast.
Yeah, it did.
When you look back on it.
Well, he was born in 95. I don't know if he was in Spartacus unless he was the wee lad in the show.
Maybe he just looks like the kid that also was in Spartacus, because I swear his face looks like the dude that I hated in Spartacus.
Yeah, he's 5'7" and 3/4. I don't know.
Like, just find a bunch of girls who are 5'4", you know?
Him and Tom Holland are probably the same height.
Yeah, but he's cooler than Tom Holland.
And he's Irish. Actually, I don't know if he is.
Is that the qualifications we're going with? He's just got to be
part of the
cool
UK.
And Irish.
Part of the UK, man.
That's what we're doing. Okay.
That's what we're doing.
Okay. Okay.
Anywho, let us know down in the comments below. Are you excited about Stephen Knight penning the new James Bond film? maybe let us know what your fan casting is for the new James Bond itself. But moving on to our next news nugget, we're going to get into the trailer in a little bit, but James Gunn confirmed that there will be 100 universes in the new DCU, which will be played in Peacemaker. In the trailer, we'll kind of get into it. Season 2 has a lot more interdimensional or inter-universe kind of play into it. Jalen, I wanted to bring this over to you first. Where do you feel about something like this being introduced into the DCU? Are we looking at, and I think Keoni and I discussed it very briefly last week, is this something where, is it possible that we're looking at a potential story plot line for Crisis on Infinite Earths down the line, where he's just trying to introduce
100%.
certain things first?
100%. It's we're introducing that so that way the audience kind of gets used to the level and the scale. He's really trying to bring all the scale that I think we didn't get to with the previous iteration, obviously, of the DCU grander universe, with being able to do a show like Lanterns, being able to do Peacemaker and introduce some of those things, which, you know, considering what's going to be on the docket for that is going to be pretty cool. But yeah, he's basically trying to get us ready for a big multiversal thing. He's very much taking an air quote Marvel approach to this new franchise that he's got, which is fine. And all that kind of stuff. And it definitely works. But all that being said, we got to get there, and we're going to need some better movies to, I don't know how to say it. We're going to need some better movies to really catch up the audience on the zaniness of that style of DCU. Plot. Yeah, because like there's a lot of moving pieces when you try to go down to the Infinite Crisis route, or Crisis on Infinite Earths route, and all those things. So you've got to have those main characters established, like Superman, like Batman, like Wonder Woman, and Supergirl, and you're just gonna have to do a new Aquaman, and all these things. We're gonna have to kind of come full circle. So we'll see if he can pull it off. Obviously, he's 0 for 1 for me. I'm hoping that he'll be, 1 for 2 with Supergirl. So we'll see.
Keoni, thoughts on this introduction of 100 universes?
I was gonna say I'm with Jay too. Is like the storyline will be great. We already know that storyline is played out in the TV show world of DC stuff, which I think Jay already said on here that was probably some of the best stuff that's come out. I don't know how we still haven't gotten Grant Gustin as a Flash, but I'm sure now we will, just because I think James Gunn is trying to, olive branch a lot of the DC guys right now. All things told, it's cool, but again, are you, expanding a little too early, too quick? We'll see. I feel like he's got a lot to prove. We were all on the same train of didn't really enjoy the first movie. We'll wait to see what happens with this next one.
Right on. Let us know down below if you feel that 100 universes is kind of a mouthful to be getting right away after the first movie of the introduction of the new DCU. But let us know down what you believe. The next news nugget we got, and this one's kind of a sad one in a sense, but Keoni, I'll let you go on this one.
God, thanks for giving me the sad one.
The MCU has no sense of urgency and no plans in streamlining the Blade film, nor a new Deadpool film. I know that the Deadpool film sequels have already been discussed as probably not going to happen, just because I think Ryan Reynolds and Marvel both wanted to take a step back from it, just kind of give them a nice little welcome to the party introduction film, but also kind of a little send off in a sense for the Fox side of things. But how do we feel about this? We have been waiting on this Blade film. There's been different scripts that have been written. There's been different directors that have been hired, and nothing is sticking. And we have Mahershala Ali now approaching his mid-50s, and this film is not anywhere close to being filmed, produced. Is this something because they put their horse ahead of their cart? I believe the Blade film was announced around the time that Chapek entered the scene.
Yeah.
And it seems like things have been getting a lot more frisky with this production, this IP, and it's gotten us nowhere. But what do you feel on this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that is one part of it. Definitely switching over back to Feige has shifted a lot of things. But at the end of the day, man, I feel like Feige, for the most part, has been pretty in tune with what the fans want to see. Um, so it is weird that these two movies specifically have been some of their most like profitable, most wanted franchises. Nobody really asked for like not Kate. I know we've all been apologists for that movie and we all loved it. Like, but nobody really asked for like an Eternals film. Nobody really asked for a Thunderbolts film.
Mm-hmm.
Both great movies, both well deserved of their time in the sunlight. But how we have not already signed up for a continuation of the Deadpool and Wolverine world after what a tremendous success that was, and how we have not established that Blade will finally get his due. I cannot understand, especially when you watch like fan reactions to like Wesley Snipes making his appearance in the film from the like how we're not already planning this new iteration, Mahershala, especially with Mahershala being who Mahershala is as an actor. Like, it's wild to me, bro. Like, I don't understand it. So, very disappointing at this point. It feels like we're waiting for something that's not going to happen, and that's very, very disappointing. I do think that there is a route they still could go. I'm pretty sure Jay was the one who mentioned it like a long time ago about maybe it's not about him per se. Maybe it's about his son, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even sure the comic lore of Blade, but that could be a thing. We'll see where we go with this. I'm just kind of sad as a fan. So yeah, bummer.
Yeah, I feel that too.
Yeah.
You know, after watching the Deadpool and Wolverine on its 1-year anniversary of coming out,
Mm-hmm.
Seeing Wesley Snipes return as Blade, it got the juices flowing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you just want this movie to actually be able to premiere, to actually come out and do something with it. Do you fear that it's going to get to a point where it's not going to be shelved permanently, but we're going to lose Mahershala sooner rather than later?
I mean, I feel like if Mahershala's hung on this long, it doesn't feel like he would up and leave it now. You know, feels like he's. I mean, it's already been how many years actually has it been?
Well, you have to assume this though, because they've already got their slate cleaned to the end of 2027.
Yeah.
Assumingly, X-Men will be premiering in 2028.
Yeah.
So even if they do get something good to go, he will be starting filming maybe when he's 55, 56. Movie comes out a year and a half after, he'll be 58. Are they going to try to streamline a sequel right away, right after that? Or is it just...
Hey, black don't crack, man. You see that man in Jurassic Park? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what stuntmen are for. I mean, it's a pretty easy... I mean, to be fair, it's a pretty easy look to replicate. I mean... You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things where I feel like you can get a stuntman in there. He can do pretty much, yeah, it's like you can get that dude just doing, the acting chop parts, and then just let somebody else do all the body action stuff. But yeah, I mean, all things told, I obviously am very worried about that. It will be like 2029 at the very least. You know what I mean? Or better yet, it could be 2028 in like a
end of
2 movie
year,
type
Halloween
of deal.
time or something.
That would be dope, but especially because it does feel like that would be. Oh gosh, I don't know why I'm even building that up in my head. That it'd be like a cool horror film. But anyway,
I mean, what more would you rather want from a vampire film?
Yeah, because like Blade wasn't really a horror film per se.
Yeah,
it was like an action film.
Yeah, but
it was like an action film with vampires. Yeah, I was just like, I feel like that was more. But this one has a chance of like, maybe it's. They just go really creepy with it and really scary and frightening with it. I think that could be a very cool spin on everything, especially if it leads to Midnight Sun. So, I know it's a bummer we haven't gotten this yet, but at the same instance, I'm also of that mindset where I'm just like, if he's still down, I don't care how old he is. He's a great actor. He looked fantastic in the Jurassic World Rebirth film. So, I'll give it that.
Well, let us know down in the comments down below what you think about the Blade film and Deadpool, technically, not having any plans on the horizon. Are you upset about this? Are you just at the point where you're saying adios, amigo, and when it comes out, it comes out? Who knows? Moving on to our last news nugget of the day. Now, I'm hoping Jalen finishes his business meeting quickly because I think he would have a little more intellect on this. But I'll ask you as well, Keoni. Maybe you know something. Recently, Robert Downey Jr. posted a picture. This picture. A picture of comics of Iron Man versus Dr. Doom and what it could mean for the role that maybe RDJ is playing.
Oh, thank God.
Right? In what's going on with this
the whole thing.
Perfect.
Please be back.
I would like to get your thoughts on it. Jalen, I'll just throw it to you first because I don't think Keoni quite had anything on the docket.
I knew some stuff, but I was just like, goodness, please, just Jay, get back. I need the full reference stuff.
This was posted by RDJ. What do you feel is the direction they're going with his character now that you see this picture of RDJ's posting?
I mean, there's that rumor that went around that it's going to be like a displaced Iron Man. Like, I think there's the weird fan theory going around that I put in the group chat of like, it's actually like the Tony Stark from a different universe that we had the whole time. And like that Tony was adopted by the Starks, that kind of stuff. But this one was actually Victor Von Doom or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think they're definitely going that route of it's a displaced OG Tony Stark and not necessarily a pure Victor Von Doom. We also, I think, like I said, when we did our Fantastic Four review, I do think there's a real chance that like this is the biggest debate of the millennia, and it seems like a Kevin Feige like big time poll. Like we think it's RDJ or it has RDJ's face the whole time, but then they sneak in a pretty solid actor to be a Victor Von Doom for the foreseeable future, or if they kill him off in this movie, that'd be pretty lame. But we'll see. The Doom doesn't really go down after one swing; he just always kind of finds a way to stick around. So. I could see it also just being the biggest debate of all time and getting all this stuff around it. So that way it has that word of mouth of like, oh, dude, you got to go see Doomsday kind of stuff. And they kind of get back to that era of Marvel. So, but given this kind of stuff where he's talking about the Iron Man versus Doomsday and all that kind of stuff, I do think there's that series or that iteration of it being Tony Stark. And he doesn't do Iron Man necessarily, but he uses a lot of that same philosophy of a suit of armor around the world to kind of go down a darker path and really do by any means necessary to become a air quote protector of the world in his mind and doing what's right in his mind, but in reality it's sacrificial to everybody else and becomes more of the Victor Von Doom era villain. So definitely an angle they can play if this is kind of what he's teasing or where he's getting his pull and inspiration from.
Right on. Keoni, any thoughts on this picture?
No, I mean, I was only going to say that I feel like that's a very Marvel thing for him to have done. So, I mean, it's increasing the intrigue for sure. I'm just super excited to see what direction we go. And I'm with Jay. I really don't think that it's going to be Cillian Murphy.
Is that what you think?
I'm just going to throw that out there.
I think that'd be the biggest right hook in like swing a millennia. And I think it's been a fan cast thing. Kevin Feige did the John Krasinski thing in Multiverse of Madness. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he did do that.
Crazy. That actually would be crazy.
Exciting. I'm not gonna hold my breath, but it would be like that's a cheer moment in the theater.
Yeah,
you know,
Marvel
I think that's where they're
back. If that happens,
come on now.
Right on. Well, that'll do it for us here on this News Nuggets. Let us know down below if you had any comments regarding any of the News Nuggets. Also, if you're familiar with these comics, what are your thoughts? What do you think is about to happen? Are we about to get our minds blown with this next 2 Avengers films? But moving on to our trailer reviews. First one we got up. After a very successful first season, Season 2 is coming for Peacemaker. It will be continuing off into the new DCU. And I believe, if I remember the interview with James Gunn, he said that things that are mentioned in Season 2 are now canon. So pretty much saying you don't necessarily need to remember everything from the first season, but there are going to be things that are mentioned or hinted at or called upon from the previous season that are now canonically
Ooh.
a part of the new DCU. And the trailer premiered. Seems like following what happened in season 1, he wants to be a hero, but everyone kind of sees him as a dick, as a jerk, not really someone who should be a hero in this universe. And of course, he starts going off into different universes where he is the hero, and he comes in contact with characters from the past. He comes in contact with another version of himself. There seems to be a little bit of a love interest between him and Harcourt. So, what did you guys think of this season 2 trailer? Are you guys excited?
Yes, I am. I mean, I think
Intrigued.
I think the first one was funny. That's kind of where I feel like this whole show lands for me, as far as like it's entertaining. I guess just from like a story beats perspective, like, I mean, it was entertaining, but it was also kind of one of those things where I was just like, it just kind of seems like just thrown out there. It's pretty much John Cena doing the John Cena thing. You know what I mean? He can be very funny at times, so I give him that. I think Peacemaker is definitely like his peak version of himself in a show form. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Not even sure that I'm going to catch it like right when it comes out, just because there's so much stuff, especially, one that probably not going to talk about, but that I just really got into yesterday. So
yeah. You'll talk about it later.
Oh, you damn right I will.
But all right. Jalen, thoughts?
I'm kind of on the same vein. Cool, and I'm a little, I don't know what the term would be. I don't know that James Gunn learned all the mistakes from Marvel, because this was one of those things that I think held Marvel back for a while, was trying to link every single thing together in one connected universe. So I don't know like what extent he means when like certain things are going to be mentioned and certain things you're going to have to like have notes of what the greater universe implies. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there was that moment for a while where, if you didn't watch WandaVision, then you go watch Multiverse of Madness. It's really kind of a weird experience. And you're like, why does she care so much about her kids and all that stuff? And seemed very abrasive from where we left her in the previous film that you saw her in. Stuff like that, just kind of creeping in and all that stuff. So I'm a little worried that that's going to be the route that this DCU goes. So I hope maybe he can find a better way than what they did at the MCU. But in time, I guess we will see and we will figure out how that goes. But that immediately kind of got me like, oh, I don't know if I want to invest in Peacemaker if it's gonna have like, or like this DCU, if I have to watch Peacemaker and I have to watch Lanterns and I have to watch all these things, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they've really got to win over a big audience if this is the route that they're gonna go. And as of right now, it's still kind of, I'd say majority, like it's mostly positive, but like there's still a good chunk of the rest of the fan base that they could win over if they were just gonna make it a little bit more simpler to streamline and that kind of stuff. So we'll see for sure.
Right on. Well, let us know down in the comments below. Did you enjoy the trailer for season 2 of Peacemaker? Are you excited about the show? Are you interested to see how this kind of dives into the new DCU? The next trailer we are reviewing today is, there we go, Twinless. Now, this film, it won, I believe, some awards at the Sundance Film Festival. It is starring Dylan O'Brien as well as James Sweeney. Lauren Graham is also in the film. It's about two young men in a twin support group who lost their twins at some point in their lives, and they form an unlikely friendship, seemingly finding solace in each other, having these moments of kind of reconnecting in a sense of having another twin, kind of. But then things get a little bit more haywire, where it seems each of them has more dark secrets that they're keeping from each other. Kind of a different tone than I thought it was going. The first half of this trailer, it almost made it seem like it was going to be kind of a romantic dramedy in a sense, but then it kind of goes into like something's wrong with either one of them. But you know what?
Both
One of
them
them killed
actually.
the twin.
Yeah, I think that's
I
what exactly what I was
believe
thinking.
both of them have murdered
We've just
their
spoiled the film for everyone.
Sorry, but like context clues are important. Saying
Yeah.
someone has died here, and
Yeah.
that's what's going on.
But I think it's great to see Dylan O'Brien returning to the screen because I haven't seen him in a hot minute, and he's an actor I truly do appreciate. But gentlemen, your thoughts on this trailer and this film?
I'm right there with you. I was watching the trailer, and it was like, oh, we're doing like a cool,
Maybe like a gay
indie
romance
comedy thing, or like he's kind of like one's gay, the other one's there, and it's like a buddy, like they try to get each other a date kind of thing. But then it was like, oh, both of you are crazy people and have murdered probably your other twins. So, yeah, that was okay. Okay, that's where we're going there.
Imagine at
Okay.
the end, it's like, you murdered your twin too? Oh my god!
God. I could see that for sure. That would be
Twinning.
great.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Actually twinning. Actually twinning. But yeah, that's at least what I thought, like just watching that iteration of what was going on in the trailer. So it doesn't mean I'm not interested. Also, haven't seen Dylan O'Brien in a grip. Obviously, everybody loves Maze Runner. That franchise failed that young man to like the most highest degree because he absolutely just carried all of those films. So yeah, it's cool to see him back on screen and kind of getting some love. So good for him. Excited to hopefully see where this goes. Definitely a couch watch. All these like kind of indie Sundance films. I'm not really, just yearning to go to the theater and things like that. But very much an interesting one if I can find some time to kind of watch it and get a view on it.
Yeah. I'm with Jay as far as like the viewing experience of it. Like I definitely am interested. It definitely like piqued my interest, but probably a little bit of a slower day when I'm really feeling like watching something that might make me cry, might make me scared. I'm not even entirely sure what the film is supposed to be
So
about.
many emotions.
Yeah, it's like exactly.
What is it gonna make me do? Like, what do we
find a twin and murder?
Quite literally started, with the exact same feeling that you had as well. It's like, oh, it's going to be like this interesting sort of, ironic that you also said that it won awards already, because I feel like that's very much a Oscar baity type of film. But yeah, looks solid. Shout out to Dylan O'Brien.
Also wanted to give a quick shout out to James Sweeney, who is the other twin, right? He actually wrote and directed this film as well. So, okay. I mean, way to just ruin my shout out.
I know what you were trying to say, and then you just cut it right out of your own sentence. You're like the other
not
gentleman.
Yeah,
gay.
But
gay.
Shout out,
you could just say
shout
it.
out to him for writing and directing this film. It looks like it'll be a banger of a film. Let us know down below. Are you interested in the film? Are you a Dylan O'Brien fan? Are you intrigued by what secrets they are keeping from each other? The next trailer we got, now this one's a little bit of a fun one. I thought this was going to be a completely different premise, but the premise itself is very unique. I don't know if this is based off of a source material or not, but Eternity, starring Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Teller, and Callum Turner. It's kind of like your ideas put on screen of what is the afterlife going to be, what is heaven supposed to be like, or whatever you believe in as the afterlife, right? And it goes into this woman who finally passes away, and I guess she kind of reverts to her youthful form, or maybe their peak or prime of life. And she sees her husband that she lived the rest of her life with, which would be Miles Teller. And you can tell that they're kind of they're time based. You can tell they're from a different era. But of course, Callum Turner shows up, who was her first husband, who passed away during the war. And it's this decision between her figuring out the choice of who are you going to spend eternity with. And you have to make that decision before you go off into, I guess, the rest of your afterlife, the eternity, right? This was a very cool premise. I thought the trailer itself was very fun. It's literally a love triangle between these three actors. Gentlemen, what did you think of this trailer?
I mean, it was just shocking that no announcement at Hall H about, you're putting Reed Richards and Scarlet Witch together in the same film. I figured that would have...
this is actually Dua Lipa's fiance.
Dua Lipa's fiance.
The Callum
We'll see
Turner?
about that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Okay. Adding her to the list for Jalen.
No, I like the premise of it. I love we love Elizabeth Olsen. She's been great for a long time since she kind of got into the zeitgeist with the Marvel films and playing Scarlet Witch, and obviously that led to her getting some really cool roles with
a real
she was
thespian.
in God. Yes, so just got a lot of range. She's great. And obviously Miles Teller has just come into his own, man. He's just such a rock star now, and he can just do basically whatever he wants at this point. Even The Gorge, like, not a really popular film, but like
film. So fun.
Very fun. And like him and Anya Taylor-Joy were just a delight to watch in that film. So just excited in general. Again, another couch watch, but I'm very, very excited to see the project. But yeah, no, this trailer looked good. It looked like a fun premise. It looked like there's going to be some real moments of levity and comedy and all those things. So,
and of course it's A24.
Of course it's A24. They crank out some good stuff over there. So good for those two. I'm glad that they both landed on this project, and looking forward to what it actually ends up like being and what the ending is going to be. And does she actually choose, either or? Is it going to be one of those like Twitter things where it kind of catches fire through like a bunch of girls being like team, Miles or team whatever, like, that kind of deal. It seems like they're kind of setting up for that type of ending. So no, very, very good trailer, very good premise. Very much looking forward to the film. Can't wait.
Yeah, definitely one that piqued my interest. It was interesting, like an interesting idea. I mean, I wouldn't even have thought of like, oh yeah, he died in the war, like way back when, you know what I mean? So you live like 40 years of your life or whatever with some other guy in your life. So interesting concept. Definitely agree with Jay on Miles Teller kind of coming into his own. Obviously, we already know the acting chops of Elizabeth Olsen. Again, probably going to be a couch watch, but I was also going to note that I feel like there's a lot of these sort of like love triangle movies coming out now, because isn't there another one with Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans?
That came out already.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like,
oh yeah,
that's what I'm like. Just another one right after that one, and it's probably gonna be another one.
Challengers,
after this.
kind
like,
of the same,
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm like, it's like same video.
Curveball. Do you think the two guys would be like, let's just be bros for eternity at the end of the movie, and then ditch Elizabeth Olsen?
Could do that.
That would be for eternity.
For eternity, like we just dropped the bag on possibly Elizabeth Olsen.
I was just gonna say, it was like, so we can hang out for eternity. Like, this is gonna be me and yous kicking it right on.
Just us, yeah.
Just saying.
It's like, don't get me wrong, Jay. It's like, you're my boy, but I really wanted to spend it with Bianca over there. It's like Jay had first choice. It's like,
Jay
wow.
was like holding his PC, but like, we can game for the rest of our lives.
Like, dude,
Wow.
We play game the whole time.
Just like, I just really thought maybe I would. Okay, well.
Thought we were gonna do the Halo campaign, man. What the hell? This is ridiculous.
Forever.
Forever. Yeah, forever.
Oh, God. But nonetheless, let us know what you think in the comments down below about this film coming out, Eternity. Are you intrigued by this love triangle trope returning again to the screen? The last trailer we got today. Now, it did premiere exclusively for those who went to go see Fantastic Four First Steps in theaters, but they have officially released it online in all its glory. But I will say, you had to have seen it on the big screen first, because that thing is...
Damn.
I don't know what they're doing over there, but the CGI for these films is just butter. Avatar, Fire and Ash. This trailer comes out. I will say, first off, the beginning of the trailer, when I watched it in theaters and when I rewatched it online, it didn't feel like a trailer. It felt like they were just chopping clips up together from the film and kind of putting it in sequential order, right? But as you kind of get to the end, the music starts picking up. You get a lot more of the drama between the two tribes and how they're going to clash together. It seems very funny still that James Cameron's taken a little bit of a page out of Avatar: The Last Airbender with these different tribes and different elemental sections of the world, if you will.
The lava people.
Fire and ash.
Fire and ash.
We are getting something that looks like a full-on brawl that's going to come out. I still don't know who the enemy is. Is it still not Stephen Lang's character? Is it this tribe? Are they going to band together like they did in the second movie against Stephen Lang? Or is Stephen Lang going to band together with this group against Jake Sully's group? It seems kind of a mishmash of things. But gentlemen, what did you think of this trailer? I think it's fair to say unanimously that the quality of the trailer looked fantastic. A lot of things are clearly finished in post. But what did you think? Did this get you hyped for the movie?
Not hyped, but it was just like, yes, this is where we're going with the series. So cool. Should be a big spectacle. I mean, the kind of, but not really. I don't know. See, this is where we got to with the second one too, because like the first one revolutionized a lot of things that we have right now because of the time it came out and what it accomplished and all these other things like the VFX absolutely. and so like the second one, when you remove all of the zeitgeist parts of the first Avatar, it's really not like that crazy of a film. Like there's nothing in there that's just so like monumental and memorable. Everyone just remembers being in a theater and wearing 3D glasses that weren't blue and yellow or blue and red. Like that's what really it was. It was just an experience to go see it and be in Pandora and do all these things. The story wise, like it was Dances with Wolves with blue people. Like that's what the story was. And then you get to the second one, it's just kind of same old. A lot of very pretty shots, a lot of very pretty CGI. Stories kind of progressed a little bit. Nothing memorable or exciting, really, at the end of that film. And I think we're just kind of in the same boat with the third one. But this one seems like hopefully it's a definitive end because a lot of the pieces from the first two films are coming to a head with like how it left off with that dude becoming an avatar himself and all that kind of stuff. And now this other tribe, it looks like, is pretty hostile, and they're not going to meet up. They're
still going to have to deal with the death of his son.
Death of his son and all that kind of stuff, right? So, like, there's a lot of those kinds of moving pieces of things to put in place, and I really thought we were going to get, like, literal, like, lava adapted, like, alien people, and we didn't, so that's kind of lame to me. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought we were going to see some cool, like, lava layers underground or something where their bodies have just got this like adaptation of being able to withstand incredible amounts of heat. Like that would have been cool to me, but it's just people that live near a volcano and they're still the same species. So yeah, just didn't quite hit the way I thought it was going to. So yeah, other than that, that's what I thought about the trailer when I watched it.
Fair enough. Keoni.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it as far as visually. You know, obviously, we already know what James Cameron can do. He looked really good in the theater. Again, kind of like what you said, was like started off with like a highlight reel of like the first two movies, and I was like, oh, weird. Why is this playing? And then it showed the actual trailer parts, and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, I mean, it still looks really, really good. Still gonna probably see it just because of the visual. I mean, geez, even this picture alone is pretty damn. You know what I mean?
It's fantastic.
Like,
listen,
yeah,
like it's incredible visual effects work. Yeah,
yeah, that looks really, really good. But yeah, kind of with Jay. I mean, even though like I obviously have a little bit of like a soft spot, I guess, for it because obviously like his second iteration of the people with the blue people were like more like into like Polynesian culture. So I thought that was like a very cool aspect of the second film. To me, it is. We're just kind of getting to like the white noise, ironically, but we're getting to like sort of the white noise of this world where it's like, how many of these indigenous peoples can we just, bring out and start, destroying their place and all that kind of stuff. But we'll see. Isn't there supposed to be like 4 more of these? So
I think there's 2 more.
Oh, okay.
And I think at some point they're supposed to be
God.
returning to Earth.
Oh dear
Wow.
God.
Okay. Cool.
Just saying.
We've done the fire, so now the next one has to be snow people, right? We're gonna do like snow scenes, right? That's where we've done
would
the
be Earth,
normal
wouldn't it?
Earth.
Because like the first tribe is they
Maybe.
fly around with the air, or I guess the tree. I don't know. That's
The
actually a
first
good
one's
question.
very
Snow
like
people would
tree
be
and
dope,
nature. Then we went to water, and now we've gone to like the volcano people. So it's sensible to that they would go to like a snowy location somewhere in the Pantera place, maybe.
Isn't
and
there
then
supposed to be
That's
like an
true.
air group in this?
I thought they were the original because weren't they like flying around the whole time?
No, because I swear
right?
there's
Right.
isn't there like visuals of like a actual
floating
air group? Like no, but like they
something?
have like
They're
there's
like
this-
balloon whales in this one, where they like.
but they almost look like
they were-
like Dune. Like it's like that
Oh,
that
okay.
color scheme, like that sort of like palish.
Interesting.
I swear there's another group they introduced, but they just kind of aren't like putting them out full blast. But yeah, anyway, I'm just spitballing here. At the end of the day, I feel like exactly how I'm feeling right now, very confused, is exactly how probably most people who watch it were just like, I don't even know who's who and who's different. And like, yeah, that color looks slightly different. So here we are, James Cameron.
Right on, right on. Well, let us know down in the comments below what you think of this trailer. Are you getting hyped? Do you think that this film is going to be another 2 billion film on James Cameron's resume? Because he is now, I believe, 3 of the top 5 all-time box offices in history of film. So, let's see if he can continue forward with that. But I think that'll do it for us here on this segment of Postcard. It's a little bit long-winded, but we had some things that we had to get through. Gentlemen, any last thoughts?
No, that's it. Fire and ash. There's gonna be some fire and
Some ash.
some ash. Yeah, yeah. James Cameron.
Yeah, if you haven't
That
gone
one.
and watched the Chief of War, go do it because
Actually.
it's
Now
absolutely
that you mentioned it,
fantastic.
let us know what you thought, Keoni. Banger!
Yeah, I mean, just everything about it so far. They've released 2 episodes on Apple TV. I think the one thing that already stood out to me was like, thank goodness you went to Apple TV, because Apple TV has been some of the best like visual content we've seen, like of any of the streaming services. Obviously, they got like an endless budget, so it makes
agree.
sense. But everything looks really, really fantastic. They found a lot of great spots. I mean, it's pretty hard now because Hawaii obviously doesn't look the same as it did way back when. You know what I mean? It's covered with a lot of crap nowadays. So they did really good about finding some like great shooting locations. I think they asked a lot of permission to go to some of these spots that are a little bit more isolated, which is also very fantastic. A lot of the places that they use have a lot of cultural and historical significance. So I thought that was really, really cool. The entire show is in my native language, so it's in Hawaiian, so it's in Olelo, Hawaii, which I love. Glad they went that route, and glad they're making it very like on the nose as far as like even the actors who like are obviously not Hawaiian but are coming from New Zealand had to learn Hawaiian in order to be able to be in the show, because Temuera Morrison was freaking fantastic. If you ever watched any of his older stuff, he definitely had Jake the Muss come out a little bit in this show, which was pretty damn cool to see. So shout out to just the entire cast, even what's her name that came over from the Night Agent. I think it's Lucianne Buchanan.
Mm-hmm.
She's been fantastic in it. She plays a very, very iconic and historic character, person of, I guess, from history, and Queen Ka'ahumanu. So just really, really cool to see. Jason Momoa's character, Jason Momoa in general, he did really, really good about making everything look authentic. The action's authentic. Everything in there just look really, really cool. There was a direction he definitely could have gone that I feel like it would have made it more commercial and all this other stuff, but he did a very, very good job of finding just Hawaiian and Polynesian and all sorts of people to be in this show and just represent. So Really, really cool. Really, really. If you don't know the history of Hawaii, this is it. So shout out to Jason Momoa, man. It's been a hell of a show, and everybody from the Hawaiian community has definitely been giving it high praise. So just fantastic work. Yeah.
Right on. You heard it here first. Go see the show, everybody.
Yes, sir.
But with that, that'll conclude our segment of post credits this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. We enjoyed having you be a part of ours. From all of us here at Point Soy, good vibes and love, everybody.
Bang, bang.
Deuces.